Clark, thanks for having me in the studio this morning.
Jerry.
It's great to be with you. Hi, everybody.
And is your moniker Santa Jerry?
Clark, I don't go by that very much.
Don't you?
You know, friends do, and down here people are starting to know me as Santa. You know, I mean, and this is an area with lots of white beards, you know, from the billy goat to Santa.
So,
My good friends call me Sarge.
do they?
Yeah. My
Sarge.
very best friends.
Really? Oh, Sarge it is. So, we're friends. I know you as a songwriter, musician. I know you're big in Toastmasters, is that right?
Well, I don't know if I'm big, but
Well,
I really enjoy participating in Toastmasters.
And you are an artist as well.
And I paint and draw. Not very well, but I find it as a fun diversion, something to do, great way to be in nature.
And your wife, Patty, is an artist. Is
Is
that right?
an artist,
What
yes.
is her
I would
pottery?
call her specialty sculpture, but Patty is a true artist, whether it's baking in the kitchen, making Santa's suits, everything I wear is custom made by Patty,
Yeah.
or sculpting, painting, drawing, oils, watercolor, acrylic. You know, she is an artist.
And then you have a side gig.
And then I have my side gig as Santa.
Okay.
And it truly is, you know, it's my retired part-time job.
So let's pause right now and show what you do as Santa. Okay?
All right.
So
Enjoy, everyone.
So open your eyes, lend us an ear. We want to say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year!
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is Jerry is Santa, but there's a lot more to him that I don't know about. Let's start there, then we will definitely talk about the magic of Santa Claus. You Alaska boy?
I am Clark.
Born?
No, I have a lot of Alaska in me, though, and it has a lot to do with how I came to be here and how come I think Patty and I fit in and have become members of the Key Peninsula community. But I am a peninsula boy. I was born on the Quimper Peninsula.
Where is that?
That's where Port Townsend is.
Oh, they call that Quimper?
That is the name of it. It actually is the Quimper Peninsula.
I've never heard of that, and I'm local.
And, you know, it's got Discovery Bay on
Yeah,
one side.
yeah.
It's got the entrance to Puget Sound, Admiralty Inlet on the other. As you come around the corner from Straits of Juan de Fuca into Puget Sound. So I was born and raised there, born in 47.
Okay.
School there.
Where was Patty from?
Patty is a Kansas girl,
Oh, she's from Kansas.
and we did meet in Alaska.
You did meet Alaska.
Yeah, we were married in Alaska, and both of our children were born in Alaska.
What town up there?
We lived in Kodiak. That's
Kodiak.
where we met. And when we left, we were living in Valdez.
Were you up there when the tanker broke down?
No, I was the marine operations supervisor for the oil terminal, responsible for all the loading of the tankers, the storing and receiving of the oil, and the cleaning of the ballast water. And I and Big Oil came to loggerheads over basically oil spill pollution measures. And it was, you know, you're fired, I quit kind of thing. And I departed working for Alyeska Pipeline
Oh,
Service.
and
Company.
you were working for the pipeline.
I was working for him, yeah. Yeah, I moved to Alaska right after I got out of the service in 1970.
Okay.
My aunt and uncle lived in Kodiak, and my aunt said, "Why don't you come? There's a lot of jobs in Alaska." I got out of the service in February, skied till the snow melted, and then what am I going to do? So I went to Kodiak and worked the summer. Came back and skied all winter. I wanted to, my dad had always raised me to say, as you grow up, before you settle down, you want to make sure you've done almost anything you want to.
Yeah. Huh.
Do you ever be sorry about anything? Just go out and experience and have those kind of adventures in your life. And one of I really liked to ski. And so I skied all winter. Taught on the weekends when the lift lines were terrible. And the rest of the time I just,
Really? You were a ski bum?
yeah,
I did not know that.
all over the Northwest.
I'll be darned.
Yeah, when I went to school in Port Angeles after I graduated from high school, I worked at the ski lifts and taught up at Hurricane Ridge
Oh, yeah,
every
yeah,
year
sure.
before I went in the Army. I tried to get on at the Garmisch Ski Patrol
Yeah.
when I was in the Army, but because of my security clearance, they wouldn't let me go. "We need you here, soldier." And so I didn't get to go do that, but I came home from Germany with new boots, new skis, and ready to go.
Yeah. Huh. Weren't you in the trades up there in Alaska too?
No.
I thought you were into tile and things like that.
No, I came later. I went
Oh,
up to
that was-
Alaska, I worked in the cannery, as I said, came back, skied, went back, worked another summer, came back and took GI Bill and went back to school.
Up there?
No, here.
Oh, here, okay.
Skied and went to school. So I was a ski gigolo. You go skiing on Wednesdays and Thursdays was really a great day to go.
Oh, yeah, sure. Sure.
And while I was going to school, the cannery started calling the school, "Boy, we'd really like to have Nebel. Could you graduate him early?" And they did. I got my degree like 3 months early and went to Alaska full time, and I was the statistical analyst at the cannery that I'd worked at the 2 previous summers.
Is that salmon and...
They were doing a little everything in Kodiak, company owned by the Japanese, and so I put everything I owned in my station wagon. My dad put it on the container, and the boat followed me to Kodiak. The company, this is in now we're in early 70s, wanted to expand out of Kodiak. Should we go Dutch Harbor, or should we go to Prince William Sound? Dutch Harbor now is the largest seafood port in the U.S. Right. They rolled the dice and they said, "Oh, we're going to go to Prince William Sound," and they pointed to me, said, "You're going to be the plant superintendent." And I was like 26 years old, and wow. So I moved to Valdez when it had like 900 people.
Is that right?
I was the largest private employer in town.
Is that so?
I got appointed to the city council when some old guy died. The other old guys came and said, "But you sit on the city council?" Oh, okay. And I got elected twice. So when Valdez went from like 900 people to 9,000 during construction of the pipeline, I was on the city council. And it was like a really unique education experience and a learning of all kinds of things. Basically, municipalities facing the same things then as they do now, and the issues, etc. So what that has done for me here on the Key Peninsula is I'm board and commission and meetings out, I did all that stuff when I was really young.
Right.
Even before I was married, because Patty and I didn't get married till 77.
Okay.
And I was at the end of my council time. Because I had this belief that there's politicians that are politicians and there's politicians that are statesmen, and some of them do it forever, and that really isn't what you should do. But if you can have your hands and help other people to step in them and pull them up. So I'm responsible. The city of Valdez has got I think it's worth almost $75 million permanent fund now that we started. Initiative I made when I was on the council that we were making money hand over fist from the oil companies. Let's save it. We sold municipal bonds, almost $2 billion worth of them. And the city got 1%. That's what we negotiated. And we put that money away. And now Valdez has got swimming pools that have floors that go up and down for kids if they're different size, or you're in a wheelchair, you can wheel them in and lower them
That's
down.
cool, yeah.
Yeah, nice schools.
Why would anyone want to leave there?
Well, it snows 350 inches a year. It's not really cold and it's not really dark, but it's a small town. Small town gossip. Well, here too we have that kind of thing. So when I had my falling out with oil companies in '82, Patty could get a Alaska loan to go to school, and she came down here and got her BFA at the University of Washington as an Alaska
What is
resident.
BFA? Fine
Bachelor
Arts?
of Fine Arts at the University of Washington. Yeah, yeah, and that brought us down here.
Where were you living then?
We lived in Richmond Beach, North Seattle, when we first hit town, and looked, and we finally found in '83 or something. Yeah, and by then Boeing was going bad. The economy was not real good here. Folks that sold us their house on their contract, they carried the paper because we were self-employed down here. We'd bought interest in a foundry, and we're doing that at the time. So, yeah, we lived in Ballard, and I tell folks that first we're sourdoughs. We are sour on the weather and enough dough to go. So we're true Alaskan sourdoughs, and then we lived in Ballard, and that's as close to Alaska as you can get without having to be there.
I've never heard that.
And we lived in Ballard until we moved here in January of 2017.
That's when you moved here?
Yes.
So, just an aside, you saw Ballard go from Scandinavian to hipster, didn't you?
Oh yeah, the purple hair and the belt buckle leaving sparks as it went banging on the road. Yeah. So we lived there.
And then you just decided you want to get out of the city?
Yeah.
And you could.
Yeah. In preparation of this interview, Clark, you asked me, I sat down and I got a piece of paper and how many different jobs have you gotten a paycheck from? So I knew there was quite a few. I was 32 of them. So I've done a lot of different things.
That's funny.
The tile experience was when we were in Seattle. Right after we got here, one of my brothers from another mother had a tile installation and flooring business in Woodinville. And he knew I was just hanging around. He says, God, could you help me for a couple weeks? I helped him for a couple of weeks. That turned to a couple of months to a couple of years. Yeah. And then I started my own tile installation company, and he came to work for me. And I had that for 15 years, I think, okay. And I sold it in, I think, '07. And I went to work for a tugboat company that hauled refined oil products all up and down the West Coast and in the Caribbean and all the way to Hawaii. Lots of work in Alaska, and I was a dispatcher for them.
Did you travel with them?
This was a perfect job in that I had these boats all over, and the farthest I went every day was down across the bridge at the locks to the office there where the old Coast Guard station was, as you come inside the locks.
Oh, over the bridge on 15th, right?
Yeah, well, no, at the locks in the Golden Gardens. Or not Golden Gardens, but at the Locks Park. Yeah. Ride my bike down the hill across.
That's still beautiful there.
And it was a week-on, week-off job. Oh, it was wonderful. Sweet. And so I had these boats all over Alaska every day. So I went to Alaska every day without having to go, basically. Jesus. And we went all the way
up. The original work-at-home guy.
We went all the way up past Barrow. And
you did, really?
It was just wonderful. Talk to these boats every day. Commiserate. Oh, I know it's snowing and blowing, and I feel sorry for them in a true sense. And then this company had a reduction in force, and I got, let go about a year and a half before I really wanted to retire. So it kind of threw a wrench, what are we going to do, and where are we going to go do it at? And Patty was working for a construction company in Ballard. Patty worked for years and years as a bookkeeper.
Okay.
And boy, she saw me retired. I think I want to do that too. So
that gave you the freedom.
So then we had to start looking for where we're going to live.
Okay. So you got the perfect job, but basically going all over the world while never leaving Ballard. And then you just decided to retire then?
Yes, that's just kind of it. And it was all over the world. You know, there's webcams everywhere nowadays. We'd have boats going through the Panama Canal, and I could.
That wasn't Fost. Who's the...
It was Kirby Offshore Marine.
Oh.
When I went to work for the company, it was owned by an outfit in New York, and they got bought by an outfit in Houston.
Okay. Yeah. And then, so now you are able to move pretty much anywhere you wanted. You wanted out of Ballard, you know. So, I mean, what did you do? Spin a globe and put your finger on the Key Peninsula, or what?
Well, I got here when my son-in-law said, "You know, Patty and Jerry, have you looked at the Key Peninsula?" Well, first I had to figure out where that was. He says, "You know, there's a lot of artists and hippies there, and you'll probably really like it." When we were looking, and we looked for over a year, looked a lot over in Olympic Peninsula around Port Townsend, as I mentioned, where I was from.
Yeah.
North of Seattle, east of Seattle, a ways west, and we have 2 grown children and grandkids, and I knew from my experience that getting on the ferry and going to Port Townsend was a PIA, and kids probably wouldn't be coming a lot to visit if we lived too far away, and it was hard to get there. So we were trying to keep it simple.
And on this side.
And on this side, kind of, yes.
Because Kingston Ferry is no fun during...
Oh, it's not. You have to go visit Mom Christmas, Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
you know,
right,
you
right.
get there and the lines, they say, "Well, let's go try another one," and it's the same. And then are the year the wind blows and you can't go. And it just, when you get to Grandma's and my mom, like, "Where you been?" Just it was terrible. So, yeah.
So you shopped around, found
So we
Asia,
came
or-
down here and enjoyed what we saw, and as we all know every day, it's a beautiful place.
Yeah.
It's a great place to be. And we were able, out at Joama Beach Farms, find a place that worked for us. And it just tickled pink to be here.
Yeah. And that was what year, do you remember?
It was
07?
January 2017.
Oh, it's really just 3 years ago.
Yes.
God, you seem like you've been here forever.
Well, I think that's one of the things that kind of works well for us is, you know, we're in the moment with the people that are there, and I'm pretty outgoing or fairly outgoing. I can make acquaintances, friends, and kind of get my pulse on the community.
Right. Well, it's like we talked about off camera, how, you know, I see you as being here forever because you're not always talking about where you were at one time, you know, you're here. And, you know, that stuff isn't, you know what I mean? And we talked about people that still, when you want to talk to them, they are always talking about where they were from rather than where they are, you know? And that's what I'm surprised, you know, because you totally are Key Peninsula. I mean, you're the poster boy. So, yeah.
Yeah, we do. We really like it here a lot.
So what did you get into what made you feel, I mean, so that you weren't just sitting home alone? How did you get out and meet people?
Well, I think that goes back to, you know, my early days and having to go to meetings, being a councilman and having constituents and not afraid to talk to people. You know, a lot of folks are, when it comes to communications, they freeze and they find they're uncomfortable. So we found where there was community events to go to. Early on, I volunteered to be Santa at the Civic Center when they had an event for homeless children and families. And we met a lot of folks that way. We would go over to the Civic Center for the public events that were going on. You know, I put a lot of credit to Susan Mendenhall's Key Peninsula Facebook page. You know, found that early. And great way to get the feel and the pulse of the community.
And then there's our old watering hole.
And then there's our watering hole. You know, we could not have a better clubhouse.
Right. We're talking about the Blend Wine Shop in Key Center. Don and Molly Swenson.
Yeah, a great place. When I first moved here, Kim and Jeff were managing the Lake Bay Marina.
Yeah.
And they had jam night on Thursday night. They brought bands in every night on the weekend. One of the bands was SOB, Sandy's band, and I knew Sandy and Valdez.
Oh, was there?
So I got to visit, and you could get up and play a couple songs with her. And it was just fabulous, and it was right down the street. And when that music went away, that really hurt for a while, and then found Blend.
Yeah.
Because we weren't going when we first got here.
Yeah. Toastmasters, yes?
And Toastmasters, I joined Toastmasters to keep my Santa gig fresh. As many of you know, I'm a professional Santa, and I do that basically from the 1st of October till past Christmas almost every year.
Okay, well, you opened the door to Santa. Let's talk a little. How did an oil company in Alaska get you to be Santa?
When I went to work for this oil company, they had like 280 employees. They had 20 barges and tugs, on crews of 8 each, and they have to be switching, so you have 2 crews, 'cause one's off, one's working. They put on a big Christmas party. They rented the Odyssey Center down on the waterfront in Seattle. A huge Christmas party. They kept talking about it. And I'd gone to work in February.
This would have been roughly what year?
This would be '08.
Oh, okay.
The general manager came up to me and he said, one day when I came into work, he said, and this is July maybe, "Would you be Santa Claus at the company party?" "I do it. And oh, you'd love it. It's so much fun. I just really enjoy it. Would you do it?" Sure. And I didn't have a beard. No, I've always had the mustache.
Okay. But it was a...
It's never been a full twist. They usually came out and twirled a little bit because I'm a fidgeter, right? And So I've had a mustache forever, but no beard. I had been Santa once in Valdez. I volunteered to be the Santa. I was 26 for the state mental hospital. When I moved to Valdez, it was there, and they needed a Santa. And we have part of a suit. You could do it. Go say ho 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 to the kids. And I did it with them, and then the foreman I had at the cannery, he had 2 real little kids, and I went out to his house, and I was Santa. So that was it. And I never thought about it again. So now we're in July. Mike comes, "Would you be Santa?"
It's kind of early to be asking you, though, isn't it?
Yeah. But he wanted to have it covered.
Okay, good man.
So finally I said, "Yeah, okay." Hey, oh, good. So October, so I started growing my beard.
Okay.
He brought in the suit, and it was like a $23.95, off the rack suit with a funny beard and
Right.
spats for the shoes, and plastic belt, etc. So Patty put a few things on it to make it nice. I went and bought some black rubber boots and went to the auto supply store and got tire polish and made them shine. And you see the pictures. It's big difference from today's Santa.
Yeah, right.
But there was like little kids that latched on and didn't let go. And if you said, "Let's go get in the sleigh when you go back to North Pole with me," it was all, I mean, it was just an incredible experience. Incredible experience.
God, it's...
Right? I mean, it was like gaga. Holy mackerel. So that's over, and
So you liked it. It
was okay. And then I went around. It was a tradition in our neighborhood. We had caroling, and Patty usually organized it. And so this year, I had the suit. She made arrangements for Santa to come for the cookies and cocoa at the end of caroling, and that went well. So she says, "You want to do this? I'll make you a suit." And so she did. The next year I Santed a few more different places. You know, the word starts to spread. There was the company party again. Did it. And like a snowball, it's just growing from year after year after year after year. So when we moved down here, now it's 2016, and at that time, I'm sitting in a lot of photographer studios, the ladies who take pictures of the babies in the shoes and the boots and the hats and the pregnant women in the fancy dresses and the families out on the beach. They're good customers for Santa, and I would do that from about the second week in October right through the first week in December. And then I did home parties, corporate parties, Ballard's tree lighting. Those were my Santa gigs at the time, and I'm not going to want to drive back to Seattle to be Santa and then have to drive back, you know, in the rain and the traffic and et cetera, et cetera. So I've been doing some work with an agent. And when I moved down here, I told everybody, you want to hire me, you have to hire me through the agent. And she charged a lot of money. And I thought, well, it's going to end that, and I won't have to worry about it. Everybody signed up and sent in deposits 12 months early.
Is that right?
We want him to know we want him, and she had an extra bedroom. So I can go to Seattle like on Thursday, stay at her house, it's conveniently located, go do all my gigs, come home Sunday night, Monday morning, and I'm not stressing out on traffic. You know, everywhere I go now, I've been before because I do them year after year.
Right.
Because these people, you know, I'm booked for 2022 for some events. You know, and I just can't believe these people do that. Yeah.
So, on a normal year, Christmas starts when for you as Santa?
Well, usually have one event in the summer.
Is that like a conference or something?
Well, like last year I was at a nightclub in Seattle when they had a Christmas in July, and they gave a free trip to Las Vegas for the person with the best shirt, and you know, and it was at a nightclub. There wasn't a kid for and they, you know, they got paid well to be there
In July.
in July.
Is it?
Our professional organization, NORPAC, in the Northwest, we have a conference every year. First weekend was November. Now we've moved it to October because people are busy.
Right.
And so I could do that, and I taught at that, teach classes. You know, you can always teach an old dog new tricks is something I've always felt. You know, that's part of why I'm a member of the local Toastmasters Club.
Keep your chops up.
You want to keep your chops up. You know, as a Santa, you're getting asked questions. You have to answer them right off the top of the head.
Right.
Every Toastmasters meeting has got a section they call table topics, where you get thrown questions and have 3 minutes to talk about it. And
Right.
to develop a skill where I can talk about it for a minute to minute and a half without a lot of you know, well, take all that kind of thing, those type of things out of your speech,
So,
and camaraderie of, you know,
Yeah.
friends.
Are you Santa Claus?
You want to pinch me to see if I'm real? Ho, ho, ho!
Real. Are you on the nice list or naughty list?
You are on the super nice list.
Am I nice?
You're on the nice list. Yes, you are. Uh-huh. Have you ever been on a naughty list?
No.
Are you sure?
Are you ever gonna retire?
I don't think so, because what would happen if Santa retired? There might not be anyone to bring toys at Christmas. And do you know what you're going to want this year for Christmas?
Yeah. More dresses.
More dresses. And how about you?
Well, I'm fine whatever I get.
You like surprises, don't you?
Yeah. Oh, I also like dolls. I love Barbie dolls and a Barbie house. I love lots of toys.
Well, you remember to send your letter to the North Pole, then Santa will know all those things.
Okay, I could ask my mama.
Yeah. Do you like candy canes?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah.
This is for you.
Thank you.
All right, I have one for each of you.
Thank you. Bye, Santa.
Merry Christmas. Give me big Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too.
Send your letter to the North Pole, okay? Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ho, ho, ho.
I'm maybe gonna wake up and go downstairs and see your maybe.
Maybe?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Ho, 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 ho. Bye-bye.
You make it sound so good.
I'm glad you like that.
So January, you're done, basically, right?
January, you're done. Many years I've shaved.
Serious?
Clark, I tell you some of the funniest incidents. I've been going to church on Sunday morning after the little kid's been watching you for 4 or 5 weeks, and he is or he isn't.
Yeah.
And then you're at church and you're shaved clean and walk into the walls, you know. People don't recognize you. It's a lot of fun.
So has it been your experience with this community of Santas throughout the world and the nation, of course? How many of those people actually have a natural appearance of Santa as you do?
Well, quite a few do.
Really? Because you don't need makeup.
I do.
But not necessarily. I mean,
Not necessarily.
you know
no.
what I mean? I mean,
No.
what? It's not a fake beard. You know what I mean? I mean, you're lucky. You got the rosy cheeks.
Yeah. I just, one of the things tickled me pink, I was having lunch at Texas with 2 other Santas. One of them was the Neiman Marcus Santa. Right, these are Santas who are Santas. We were having lunch in Dallas area, and a lady came in and she went, "Oh my gosh, look, there's Santas here." And she pointed to me and says, "I bet you're the real one."
Oh, serious?
Yeah. And I've had a lot of fun traveling around the world as Santa. You know, I always, when I'm at the airport, I try and get there early enough where I get a chance to see the flight crew when they go through the desk before they walk down the concourse.
Yeah.
And I always go up to them. "Ho, ho, ho, young man. Usually I fly myself, but today I'm on vacation.
Let me see that picture.
Today I'm on vacation, and I'm gonna let you and your crew take care of my flight needs." And it always makes the flight better. If there's an upgrade on seat, you get it, you know. If you have to stand up and go back and kibitz with the crew in the cabin and in the back, you know, on a long international flight, they love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, you know, I've heard stories about Santas who, I'll take only my hat on vacation, put it right at the top of my bag. Customs opens it up, anything like that. One guy tells a story of flying to Israel and got bumped to first class because Santa always flies first class with Air Israel.
Really?
Yeah. And, you know, one time on a boat to Crete, the captain walked into the lounge before we left Paris and Athens there, showed him the card, gave him that, and he looked at our barman and says, "He drinks on my tab tonight."
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But you're not your typical red suit, black boot Santa.
No, I
Who
don't-
are you?
See, I don't even have that.
What Santa are you? Are you Kris Kringle? Are you Vinoxamon? Who are you?
I'm Santa. So my suit doesn't look like anyone else's.
No, it doesn't.
And I have what I think is the image of an everyday what Santa would be wearing, whether he's in the workshop, whether he's out working with the reindeer, et cetera, et cetera. So my pants are green. You know, I have a red and white checkered vest. I take my coat off, my big one, when I walk in the room, so I'm comfortable. Because you hear over and over, "I have to get a cooling suit," et cetera, et cetera. You know, these guys are in the Coca-Cola suit and it's buttoned up to here.
Yeah.
Well, it's great if you're sitting on the float at the Macy's parade in November, but inside anybody's house. And when you walk in on a family visit, "Oh, Santa, we're so good to see you. Come sit here for pictures." And where's here? Right between the fireplace and the tree. My God.
You're steaming.
Oh, and it's a chair where your knees are up higher, you know, than your butt. And so your hips hurt, and you can't put anybody on your knee for a picture and hold them there. Yeah, thinking, it's the best big comfortable chair we have.
Huh?
Yeah, and then I have my formal suit is like a Victorian look Santa. So
Maybe you send me a picture of that.
it's a 3/4 length, and it's my Christmas Eve suit. I tell kids, if I get asked to come to a forum, I've been asked to come to weddings and all kinds of things. I can really button that up, red vest, and nice floral shirt, etc. And again, I can take the big coat off when I get there. And be halfway comfortable. One of my funny stories, I did a wedding, was asked to come to the wedding and the reception.
December wedding, I'm assuming?
Yes, yeah. And I had that suit on, and that suit snaps. And on the way home, I walked through Ballard on a Friday night, because that was always one of the things I loved to do, is when I'm coming home and Ballard's full on Friday or Saturday night, I get out and walk up the street.
Oh, yeah. That blow their minds, huh?
You blow everyone's mind, everybody's going to buy you a drink, and it's just a lot of fun, right?
Yeah.
I have some magic that I just leave them going, what did we just see? I walked in a place, went upstairs, they had a guest room, and there was a party going on. No idea who these people were, but there was this one gal who kept stepping back every time I kind of got close to her. And when I finally got close, she looked at me very apprehensively. She says, "Are you a stripper?" And her friends were having a going away party for her, and she thought that they were getting ready to prank her.
Oh.
And this coat snaps, and I went, and then I gave her a little pinch on the cheek and said, "Ho, ho, ho, maybe it's cold for you this year, sweetheart."
I could see you doing that. Yeah, totally.
Oh, one of my all-time favorites, one time going down the road, there was a bunch of cars parked beside the road. I stopped and went in, pounded on the door and just opened and walked in. Ho, ho, ho. This big party. Everybody just, it's like 11:30. They're hammered, most of them.
Yeah.
God, it's Santa. Walked around, did a bunch of pictures of everybody, and then left with them all going, who was that?
That's incredible.
Who was that? What did we just see?
So I have some Santa questions. Can I preface this first?
Sure.
Because you're not just some person. To a child, and even my memories, I can tear up with my memories of Christmas and Santa. I was lucky. I had a family where, I was fortunate. Not everyone has good Christmases, you know what I mean? But I was lucky. So you're almost godlike. You are goodness incarnate, right? That's got to be a burden for you. You can't go in and mess it up. You can't go in and destroy dreams. You know what I mean? So I guess one question has there been a time when some kid gets on his lap and confides in you, and it's like, you just wish you could be real, and they have a sad story, or do you have some where they, what I'm trying to say, because they will.
Well, sometimes you wish you really were Santa, is what you're trying to say,
thank you for
right?
bailing me out. Yeah,
You're trying, yeah. And, as an artist, you talk about character, and one of the things is an ABC for Santa is always being character. But one of the things I love down here, I think, being on the Key Pen, is I don't have to be 24/7. I think if I had to be the 24/7 Santa, it would drive me nuts.
yeah.
I've noticed it just seems to grow. It's about now. Children need to start looking at me different. And It makes a difference too. I can pull my hair back, not fluff up the beard. Just look like a old billy goat.
So I noticed.
So-
excuse me, go ahead.
Every year, and I think every Santa has it, child on your knee, and there's been a death in the family, and they want to bring daddy back. Daddy's in jail. Can daddy get out of jail for Christmas? You bring me a horse? So there's certain things Santa can do and certain things Santa can't do. And you try and, he can't heal, but he can pray for you. He can't bring a live animal because they just don't live up on this. When you're going 90 miles an hour at night.
You have your out. Okay, good. Good.
Yeah, so you have to have your outs, and toys. Santa can bring you toys. He can be in your heart, pray with you, or do whatever for the other things, but there's certain things you can do and certain things you can't do. And I can't do them even, if I could, so why try and make their little minds believe that you can?
All right.
It's kind of the stand I take there, because you do. And as Santa, I've been in the studio where people have come in with the little girl with trach tubes and monitors, and they came in with a video crew. Well, Mom and they didn't tell Santa before they were here.
Right.
We're worried she's going to die real soon, and we want to have a lasting memory.
But no pressure.
No, and this past year I got to ask how this little girl was doing, and yeah, she's still fine. I know I've done, and this is one of the joys that you get to do, right? Those kind of private moments. Children that are infectious and contagious and can't be around anybody. So it's just, Mom and them
And camera.
and you.
Yeah. Huh. So let me ask you. You're at an event. Can you spot the one that's going to cry when it gets in your lap, or does it just happen? And how do you, what are your tools for, it just must be a gift, but what are your tools for not intimidating as much as possible? Because, you are an intimidating purpose. You are bigger than life, and now, it's like going to, you're huge.
Yes.
What are some of your skills?
So various venues, I have different strategies. So in the studio, where they're going to bring in the children one right after, the families for the portraits, so I will know the names of the children.
Okay.
If you can talk to them in that regard. There's going to be those that, it's the stranger danger. And how often do you see somebody dressed like that?
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I go for my woodland Santa look, because it may be what I don't see every day, but I can visualize somebody would dress like that. The way we set up a set, a child that just sobs and sobs and screams. Santa, you need to go check your reindeer, don't you? I better go do that, and I'll leave. And we'll have that set designed so I can come in back behind. Because, look, kids forget this real quick, right? And now the photographer's got their attention. You can come right behind them, lean over the shoulder, be giving it this, and they get these fabulous pictures. And then you let them know you're there, and you get the, and then they're doing it again. But you've got these pictures that are, some children have them sit beside you, or have a rocking horse or a big vehicle that they can sit on in front of you.
So
And if you
keep
go
kind of their
look
distance,
through
right.
all my pictures, that's distraction. They're not right there. If it's in a venue, a big company party, and there's lots of kids in line coming to talk to Santa, your Mrs. Claus, your elf, your helper, whoever is going to be the end of the line, that person tells each child, you're next. And Santa, he can't hear very good anymore. Riding in the sleigh and all that noise, deaf. And he's going to want to know your name, and he's going to want to know what you want for Christmas. So be loud. And so a kid takes those 10 steps thinking about that.
These could be long steps, though, for some of these kids, right?
Yeah, but still, if a child gets to you and you got them on your knee and then you ask them that, they look at you with,
Oh, is that right?
where is he can come in before? I'm Mary and I want a Barbie.
Right.
And it makes a huge difference. And then the pictures are better too, because they have a little bit of self-confidence. I know what I'm going to say to him, because it's like, you know, when you go to the first time and it's the rock star, you go, And little kids the same way. And so trying to get that comfort level. Clark's going to show you folks part of the video where there's no sound. That was in a big, dark room that they wanted those kids to be like that. You know,
Okay.
it was, they asked around and knew that these were, and notice they're all really young kids that are going to probably be freaked out. And these kids went from a black, dark room, curtained open, and now, boom, all the light and color, and it's Santa.
So I read that there is the Santa Creed. I went to, there's a, you know, like
A Santa oath.
the Santa Oath. You know, basically, do no harm, stay in character, blah, blah, blah. What, are parents the biggest problem with
Of course
a
they
Santa
are.
thing? Yeah, there you go. I was in youth sports for a long time. I mean,
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's, they're, you know, parents, we're all parents, want so much for our children, and somehow they feel, you know, the child who's got frightened can't, go ahead and tell Santa, you know, and they get loud about it. And in the photography studio, as we're looking here, I'm looking right at that camera to get a good shot. Well, the photographer wants the child to look right there too. Dad's over here, mom's over
right,
here, you know.
He's like,
Get behind the camera, get behind the
there's one thing I noticed reading that one of your things that you don't do is you don't have whoever you're working for that day hand you write out a check and hand it to you in front of the kids or you know, it's like,
Oh, and you hear stories of poor Santas, you know. Do you have change? Hand him a bill. Good grief.
oh mercy, really.
And, you know, I'm like, I have the agent, you know, think of George Clooney, right? I never see a check. I don't have to write a contract. I don't have to worry about it changing a dates, et cetera, et cetera.
But
et cetera.
your agent has also given them you know, what's to be done. You got to have a parking space. You got to be able to come up.
Exactly.
Do you
Yeah,
carry your own
and
chair?
Parking spot. Well, it's first parking spot. Because the number one question you get, where are your reindeer? It's this is another reason I Toastmaster, because backstory is huge for Santa. You notice I have a
sure.
backstory
Yeah,
for
sure.
most stuff, and it makes
Sure,
it comfortable,
sure.
and I can have a dialogue.
Sure.
So, where are your reindeer? You know, some folks, mom wants me to come in, hide upstairs, and make a lot of noise like the reindeer on the roof and come downstairs. But when I do a home visit, mostly I say, you know, you're going to have a place right in front, reserved for Santa, right in front. Because I had too many years, you know, you're doing this, it's rainy, it's dark, you get out. Before there was maps, you know, you had to use a Thomas guide in the middle of the night.
Right.
So I want to park right in front. And I've always drove an old beat up pickup at Christmas time. Now I have a fairly fancy, but it's red. The reindeer, and I can show you the reindeer on my phone and they all want to see it, are over at the Smith farm over in Marysville or up in Belfair. It depends where I'm being Santa.
right.
But they're over at the Smith farm. I borrowed the truck and came here. Well, they're over taking a nap, taking a break. And so that's how I got here. And you want to go look at the truck, it's right out there. And if you want to see the reindeer, I can pull them up on my camera. There's a lot of Santas who bring their own chair.
Do you bring your own chair?
No. I tell them
But what if you're stuck in like a card chair or a card
Well, that's
table
what I
chair?
want. You know, a
Do
fold-up
you?
chair like that is perfect.
Oh, it is.
Because your legs go straight out and they go straight down, and you can put 300 pounds on your knee like that. But if your knee is down or your knee is up,
Oh, okay.
okay, now you don't get all the nice stuff behind, but in most homes there's a Christmas tree or whatever. Santa's a big enough character, you don't see any of that chair
Right,
behind him.
Right.
I tell folks a piano bench is great because you can move it out a little bit, get people beside you, in front of you, and behind you.
Right. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so I don't do the chair thing.
Do you ever? What happens if you get like a 9-year-old kid and 9-year-old kid's got a couple baby smaller, and the 9-year-old kid kind of believes in you, but if his friends say there's no Santa Claus, they're 3rd, 4th grade, that. Remember when you finally learned?
Yeah. Yeah, and they're always kind of afraid to tell you exactly. I just don't believe anymore, right? I mean, I can remember my daughter even one year saying, well, I still believe in Santa, but I don't believe in Mr. Goodrich anymore.
Right.
So you can tell the kids just from a little bit of the banter where they're going in that. So I usually well, how real are you?
Okay.
Are you the real Billy?
Right.
How do I know? Pinch me. Do I feel real? Yeah, and
Yeah. So what about? Do you have adults that come and want to talk to you, and all of a sudden that adult turns into that 7-year-old girl or that 6-year-old boy that wants a baseball mitt or a new bike or a new doll? Don't you see adults transform in your presence?
I do.
That's got to be cool.
I do. There's a lot of people that really hold Christmas dear, and it just warms their cockles, as they say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they like to talk to Santa, and they still like to get gifts. And I carry this time of the year. See if I have one. Oh, I don't. A naughty and nice coin that I like to give, and everyone likes to get one.
So you drive up. The agent has secured that they have what they're supposed to have, what the payment will be. You don't have to worry about that. You've got a seat there. You're not bringing your own chair. You've got a place that's you can pull up and do that.
I'll get notice, or there's going to be gifts, and I need to bring my bag.
So let's talk about that. So you have just an empty Santa. Is that like a period bag as well? It's not just the.
Yeah, it's a nice, and it's huge. It's got a leather bottom so it can go down in the mud puddle or wherever it can go, because you hear, presents are going to be in the back in a black plastic bag on the back.
You're
porch.
told that. You're told that.
Would you go, or George will meet you in the garage.
Okay.
That's kind of how you see those transfers. Always carry a couple extra with you, because you're out back, it's in the dark, you put the presents in, you didn't get them all. I've had that happen to me more times than once. Pour them all in, then you're sitting there with all these kids, right? And there's Sue, Billy. Yeah. And what about the worst? You could just poor kid, it just devastating to them. Oh. So usually it's been Santa didn't see him out in the back in the dark, and it's little and it is in the bottom of the bag, but you always have a couple things that you can pull out at least something at the last minute.
Oh, that would be devastating.
Yeah, it's a problem.
You don't get into the letter part of it. There are people that aren't even Santa Claus that do the correspondence with the kids, or do you have any part of them writing you?
Well, home visits, almost all of them know now that I'm coming, so they'll bring him to me so I can take it back with me and show it to Mrs. Claus and the elves when we get back to the North Pole.
I see.
This year I had commissioned a replica of a coloring book page. And so the top third is it looks like me, and I'm sitting at Santa, sitting and painting a wooden airplane. And it's made so the kids can color it. And then the spot for their name, were they naughty, were they nice? And I'd like for, my age, and I'd like for Christmas. And I put 4 things. Right, the sleigh gets full quick. You know, I mean, sometimes Santa gets the list that's a mile long. I only put 4 lines on mine. And then I'm going to ask the kids this year to either, if I was doing it in-home, to, you know, I would send it out in an email to Mom early, and they'd all be done, and they can hand it to me. Or if I'm doing a virtual visit, they can hold it up, and the elf special camera can catch it, and they don't have to write a letter to the North Pole. So they got their Santa visit and their letter sent to Santa. And the letters, I've saved a bunch, because you do hear there's some funny things show up on there. You know, I want a tow rope for Aunt Lou. You know?
So you're at the store, and little Jimmy sees you. Does he see you as Santa Claus? Yeah.
Yeah, and it's, as I said, it's part of the year they don't. They just walk right by. But little children have got a little sensor that goes off about now, and you get the double takes, and walking into things is one because, you know, little kids on, they start looking back. Are they looking like this, and Mom's up and gone around the corner, and then they turn around and nobody's there? And the good one is, you know, why are you here? And on the Key Peninsula, this is one of the favorite things I love about, is I can say, well, Santa Claus comes to the Key Peninsula a lot. There's some mega-sized roofs around here. Big barns. There's some of them that are filled with antique cars. There isn't even an animal to bug the reindeer. If I've got a new one and we're starting to do some training, I can come down to the Key Peninsula and find a roof from the Stipple Well House on Volusia Bay to the Broad Roof at, you know, name a place.
Right.
And to practice. And when I leave the reindeer, borrow the car, come in here and get a snack for the road home. I love to come practice landings at the Key Peninsula.
Oh, your touch and goes. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just really something how that just kind of fell in your lap. But there's got to be some sort of fate to it, because, as I said, it's not a big stretch from your looks to being Santa Claus. You know what I mean? And I think that must have worked for you, because you have a gentle face, you know, and you're a gentle man, you know, which is nice, because the face, you know, is apt for the person you are. And but that's got to be has worked for you really well, you know, because you're a nice person, and you have these near godlike looks of Santa.
Yeah, I'm lucky in that regard, aren't I?
Mercy.
Tell me what you want for Christmas.
I thought you know everything.
Candy cane. Are you scared of Santa?
How do you not get dirty when you go to the chimney?
Santa has a key that'll open any door, and there's lots of houses that have no chimneys,
I have a chimney.
but don't have a fire in it on Christmas Eve, okay? Candy cane!
You are a performer. You have a craft.
Yes.
And
Yes, and there's all kinds of folks, you know, do schools and teach people how to be a Santa Claus, and there's a lot of them just, well, I put the red suit on and I am. I do take, I am a performer, you know. This is an art that I have, a craft that I work on. I just don't put the suit on and go, boom, I am.
Right. You have to fulfill, you have to live up to what you are, right? And then that goes back to, there is I mean, you could crush dreams if you didn't take what you did seriously, right?
And you have to know that and be aware. I mean, I've gotten phone calls. God, you said to Billy, and he hasn't slept and he's broken out in hives. He's scared to death. He's on your naughty list. And then you got to pull yourself out of that one. And, when you
My
did
lawyer will be calling you.
it, and when you did it, you had no idea, right? I have on my phone, a naughty and nice meter. Because, you get the question all the time, am I naughty or nice? You want to know? Well, I got fire up my phone and we'll do the naughty and nice meter. Well, this day the mom had said before I got there, having some problems with picking up the room, or it was something she wanted
Homework or something like that.
Santa to talk to Billy about, right?
Oh, now you're a counselor.
And you can't just call them out. You gotta be kind of gentle about all this, right? So we did the naughty and nice meter, and I had it go. I could make it do whatever I want. Go just a hair on the naughty side. Billy, why do you think that happened? Could it be? And mention what Mom wanted me to. If you were make some recommendations, and be over on the other side. Can you do that? You feel it here in your heart?
Yeah.
Well, here, the meter will tell me. And so I'll make the meter go over on the good. I'm so proud of you. You can do it. I'm looking. But, in little Billy's mind, well, I might not be able to do it. I told him I could, but I don't know. Yeah, broke out in hives and, hadn't wet the bed in 6 years, all those kind of things,
Oh, God.
And you go, oh, my gosh.
What a disaster.
What did I do here?
Yeah, that's amazing.
What did I do here? One time I was doing the naughty and nice meter to family, lots of kids, and all the kids had gone through. Two little girls sitting over here, and they were right at the age where probably next year they're not going to be believers. It's your turn. No, I'm afraid what that might say, Santa. Not going to subject myself to that. And children always love, when they're parents, do it for my dad. And so you always make it go way over to the bad side.
Oh, of course.
So what did Dad do that he's so bad? Well, I think when Mom made fresh cookies last time, he took 2 instead of 3. Or took 2, and, something like that the kid can relate to.
So did they see you leave if you're at an event? Do they see you actually leave? Mm-hmm. You do an entrance and an exit.
Yeah. The reindeer are calling. We got to get back to the North Pole. That car that's sitting up front that I drove in on, I'm going to go get in it and leave.
Ever been late? Well, but
of course, the car's going to break. Traffic's going to get bad.
And besides that, you're Santa. You wouldn't do it on your time, right?
Oh, but when that happens, and you call the cab, or you call the wrecker, or you call, and they see it's Santa, and off you go. Even the policeman. I was going down the road one time to a gig. When I worked for the tugboat company, they loved having Santa, so I could go do gigs during the day. I'd take my suit to work, go to work, get dressed as Santa, go do a gig, come back, dress back. So I'm all dressed up Santa, and I'm going down Elliott Avenue, and I'm hearing the sirens. And I look in the rearview mirror. The pickup I had at the time, you can't see through the rearview mirror back, but on the side, I don't see anything. And the sirens went on and on and on until finally I saw, it's a motorcycle cop right behind me. He was in too close. I'm fully dressed. Oh. And I see in the side mirror this poor guy walk up, and then he looks in, and it's Santa.
Well,
But I've never had it be so bad, that Mom didn't understand.
yeah,
And, Mom is Santa's customer.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, a lot of Santas don't realize that either, I don't think.
yeah. You got to please Mom.
Well, yeah.
That's kind of the world, isn't it?
It is, Clark. Yes.
Well, Jerry, I can't tell you how much fun this has been for me, and if I could just say that, to have someone so clever as to create this cottage industry that you have, to me, it's just, I respect you so much for that, and to have taken your gift and to actually share it. Goodness gracious.
Well, thanks, Clark. It's been great being here today, and I always enjoy talking about what I do and where I do it and how I do it. Thanks, everybody, for listening.
You want to give a ho, 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 Merry Christmas?
Ho, 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 and Merry Christmas.
Fantastic, Jerry.